Okay, we're going to go into editor. When you get to this screen here, you'll push Control E, which will bring this menu up, and I'm going into the Taviana Origins Mod 1 because that's where I want to edit at. Now what I want to do is I want to find a location which I know has a store, and I'm pretty sure it's right here. So first thing you want to do is press F10, double click and set this point, then press F2, double click, set this point, then press F1. This picture AI that you're going to use to run around with to look at it, I like using this guy here, and you have to make them playable. Click OK. Once you have that done, go over here and click on Edit in 3D. There you have it, and there's the store. So I'll go ahead and just set him here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the UN sign. There's two signs that you can use. We'll press F5. If you notice up here, F5 is vehicle. Everything's considered a vehicle. So we're going to go to F5. You just double click anywhere after you press F5. And we're going to go to Object Signs. Drop this down, go all the way to the bottom of that one. And the UN base. We're going to get that sign. Double click again on the ground. Go on down till you get Warfare Buildings. And I think it's the last one on here. Sign. Yeah, these are the two signs that you can use whenever you're creating billboards. I've always used this one. A gentleman called the Duke told me about this one. But anyhow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sign and we're going to bring it over here. And we're going to put it in this window. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get it somewhat straight right here. Oh, by the way, when you rotate a sign, you're going to use the Shift key, and when you go up and down, you're going to use the Alt key. So what I try to do is I try to get it about there. And then what I want to do is look at it and try my best to center it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Whoops, too far. And then what I want to do is I want to recess it back some. This can get real hairy here. There. I like to give it that because that'll give it a kind of a 3D. You'll see when the sign when you see the sign in game. But that's it. What you do is you save. You give it a name, whatever you want to give it. ATM store. I don't know. Whatever you want to give it to it. Okay. Well, better here. Let's go with this. ATM AVI Tavi _1. And each time you save, when you do these, you just save it like the next one would be 2. If you put 3 or 4 on, if you put 4 on the map, then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that. So we're going to save. Okay. Now this is where the guy comes in handy. We want to preview it. I like to go in third person. And you come up and you look and you're like, okay, my OCD's kicking in because it looks like it's to the left a little bit, but I'm going to leave it. But see how it's recessed in? Gives it a nice depth look. You'll see. You'll see. Yes, you'll see. And there's the back of the sign. Alright, so you come back out here, take one last look. Just, oh, the OCD is getting to me. I think it needs to come down a little bit. It should be OSD. obsessive scripting disorder. Anyhow, I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm not. I can't do it. Yeah. So now what I'm saying is, I'm saying that the sign, he's in my way. I'm gonna fire him. Over here. Okay. I'm saying this is not as big as this, so I'm gonna push Alt, click on the object, and I'm gonna pull it down. Woo. And it's sometimes it get real tricky, and your object shall take off on you. Okay, then I'm gonna save. Okay. Then I'm gonna come in and take a look again. Recess looks good, and that's what we're gonna call it. That's how I place my signs. I save one last time. Okay, and then we'll exit. We'll exit. All right. So now we've got the video done of in-game and an editor. I want to show you what you need to do. You'll need to go to your user account in the C drive, find user, and pull this over here so you can see, and then it's C drive user Terrence, and then we want to go to documents. That's downloads. Oops, wrong one. Documents. And then you want to go to ARMA 2, and mine are under, what I'm looking for is under ARMA 2 other profiles. And you want to find your profile name. Then go to missions, and here's where we saved the ATM underscore tabby underscore 1. There's two files in here. The one we're concerned with is the mission, which I have already open. What you want to do is copy this to your desktop. Once you have a copy of that file, do not remove this file. Close it out. And that's this file right here. This is what I did when I went in and recorded in Editor. This is the information I'm left with. So the first thing you want to do is, here's your soldier. Here are the points that you set at the beginning. You set a F10, and then you set a F2, and then you set an F1. So all this information for scripting purposes is useless. So we'll delete all that. So the only thing you're left with is that. Then go to the bottom of the file and remove this. So that's what you're left with right there. The sign, the coordinates, the X, Y, and Z coordinates. And the same here. And which way the sign is facing. This is your heading. Now, what this is the beginning of this. Leppenstock. This is the one we did. This is the finished product. So what I added to this was these two lines. You have to add these two lines. We'll copy it. Go back to this mission file. Remember, this is just a copy. We're not worried about it. And we're going to paste here. So now it looks like the other one. Now you have to make sure wherever you put your signs that this matches up to it. Mine are on the mission side in a folder called IMG, and inside of that there's a folder called signs, and then the actual file itself, the ATM.J. So now basically you have everything that this sign has. So this is what the picture looked like here when I did it in Photoshop, where I made all the different changes to it. This is 256 by 256. Armor deals with the square, 256, 512 by 512, 1024 by 1024. So 256 is what I decided I was going to use. Now, yes, that's a square, and you'll look at the sign and you'll be like, well, the sign's stretched out. They do their magic in Arma. I don't question it, but that's what it looked like. Okay, so now this is the file you got. So what you would do with this file, you would rename it. Now I named mine tavi.sqf. You take that file. This is your markers. These are your markers. This is where, like here in Buy Love, this is where this sign's going to be. It's in a grocery store, and it's put in that window with these XYZ coordinates. The same with Lippenstock, and the same with the Metrovice, and so on and so on. Because I think I have five or six on the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you notice in mine, I think there were 7. I also have some other things in here too that I added just to make it look better when they went up to the ATM. This is by Alexander. Okay, so you got this created now. From this mission file, you ended up creating this file. This file goes on server side. So another thing you want to make sure you do is you have this name. Copy it. You want to go to your variables. It's should be in your daisy underscore code in your init file. In that, if you're running coin, you're going to find this section here. This is what the whole file looks like. So maybe it looks familiar to you, but you want to find this section. By default, this name right here is in between these quotes. I took it out because I didn't want to use him. That's an AI that you would go up to. He wears a black outfit and looks like a banker, but I don't like using them, so I took it out. So I put in this sign here. You'd paste it in, same sign, and then this is what makes it a bank. It recognizes that sign as being a bank. You can do an array too. Say you had different objects. It tells you at the end here, the suitcase, info board, EP1, laptop EP1, stat phone, and the sign we just used. So again, that's in your variables.sqf on mission side. The one with your locations of your signs and indicating where the picture is goes on server side. Let me look and see. Want to make sure that I tell you right. Jay, just get this information. This is time for a pitcher of beer or whatever. Server information, Tavi, server side. Okay. That file, this file I put in a folder in the root of your DAISY server. I call it bank ATMs. That's all lowercase bank, all uppercase ATM, and then lowercase s. It's whatever you want to name it. It could be John's Horse Watering Hole, but that's where I put mine. I'll show you the root of it. You got the DAISY server. This is where I put it right here. That file is that file right there. So you put it there. Okay. So now that you've done that, you need to call this file. So what we want to do, this is what adds those signs. We want to take this string that is going to point to that file. We want to go to your init file, and you want to go down into the, I'm pretty sure, let me find it again. I always have a hard time seeing this stuff. Right here. It's under the if is server then. You want to put it under there. And I put it right above here, this line here that says something about Chinaris. That has no effect on this server. So, as you can see, if we look back, it's add-on Daisy server, bank ATMs, tavi.sqf, adds ATMs. So right here is that same file. So remember, that goes in here. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, pointing to the server side, that's out of the way. Don't want to change that. What do we have next? Then you have your markers. What you want to do is you can pretty much just copy this. It's telling you what you can do and how to call them. Place the following tavi_marker at .sqs in a folder called map markers, _map markers. In your init.sqf at the very bottom, use this line. And I've already dropped down. I should not have done that, but I'll show you real quick. I'll grab it. At the very bottom of your init SQF on the mission side, right here is the line that I'm talking about now. You want to make sure it's underneath this last bracket here for if dedicated. You want to be below this last bracket. So anyhow, the one we were talking about is right here. So back to where here. That's where it's telling you, and it gives you the information, so you put that in your init file. Okay, this, you make a file called map markers, just like this, tavi_mapmarkers.sqf. You name that, and you want this inside of it. Okay, if you have more like mine, this is what mine looks like. I have all the map markers for Taviana located here. And I've got some extra ones in here that aren't ATMs, but I use this for all my map markers. So the one that you're looking at now is from here, where we put the sign up. Right there. That's the whole thing right there. Tells what the name of it is. This is the name it's going to show. It's going to put a dot. The color of the dot is going to be pink, and it's going to be solid. So that is this file here. So we only did one, so name it tavi_marker.sqf. Now we're done with that. Oh, I don't want to save it. I don't want to save it. I probably should have, but okay, let me get rid of this. We did the variables. We talked about, remember, the name. It's important you get that name in here, or the billboards will not work. They'll be there, but they won't act as a bank. All right. Done with that. Ooh, I made changes to this. No, I don't want changes. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, this is the file we talked about in your mission file, the one where we deleted all the information and we ended up with this, and we added these two lines in that indicate where the picture's at. This is important. You need to make it exactly like this. This top line where underscore this, set vehicle in it, all this information here, that levels. So if you were to put a house down and the house looked crooked to you in editor, you could put this line on it and that house would be level when you came in game. So this is set vehicle. It's going to take this object texture and use this picture to set it on that billboard. Of course, these are the locations. These locations here have to be the same as these, and this is the direction that the board's facing. So we've covered that enough. Don't need to save it. This is the init. We talked about that, so we're good with that. And just making sure I'm covering everything. Set object, and we talked about that. So basically that's how you do it. Now it may seem confusing, but the great thing about a video is the fact that you can stop it, rewind it, whatever you want to do. So I think I'm going to stop there, and hopefully this will make sense. This is the ATM I use. I put it in the window of the grocery store, and as you can see, I've got it recessed back some. I use the UN sign, and there's also another, I think it's a warfare sign, but it has an American flag on it. Those are the two signs you can use. And then I photoshopped the ATM with my information, and I found the original picture online, and then I done some adjustments to it in Photoshop, and I just like it a lot better than going up to an AI. And plus I put my ATMs out and about, not at the traders. It kind of promotes PvP, and you can also gear on it in the back, but that's the back of the sign. So that window kind of works out really good for ATM. I just wanted to update, so there you have it.